time. God dang. It's time to swap out these headlights. I've been putting it off long enough and it's starting to get pretty hot out. It's like over 100 right now. Luckily, the garage is, or the shop, I guess, is pretty shaded most of the time. So I started pulling this thing apart, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever done it before, but you have the fender liner, which I actually cut to fit some of that, but ended up not needing to cut it. So anyways, sits in here like so. So that sits up in there. You got hex heads right here, push pins right here, along here, and this is just so I can get into the headlight later and get that going. I need to zip tie this up so it's not resting on the piping. But a couple screws right here in the bottom, and fender liner comes right out. So when you do that, there's going to be a couple more along the bottom. I got to pull the whole bumper. So there's actually bolts right here, 2 of them. I think they're 10 mil nuts. And then you also have some, I think these are 7 mil along here, 4 of those. Some of them have a hex in there. I don't know why, some are different. But I'll end up having to pull these 3 as well, because you need to be able to flex this fender up to get this headlight off. It actually kind of scoops in there underneath. So I've got the passenger side done. Got to get in here and do the driver's side. Hex heads. Oh, looks like I don't know what happened here. Looks like it was put on after the fact. And then I'll just do a couple of these. Dark in there, sorry, but we'll get this pulled off of here. I also have a tensioner pulley for the power steering belt. I think it's power steering belt. I think the tensioner is bad. It's squeaking. At least the pulley on the tensioner. So I'm gonna probably pull that off and check that too. I may even have a meth leak too. To get to that, just gotta pull this liner out. Oh, here. Take this out so I can get in and check the meth pump is right inside of there, so I can see if I got a leak in there. And if it's not one thing, it's another. Obviously, it's been down for so long. Who knows? I might have a leak in the meth. So I'm gonna pull this bumper off and get these headlights out so I can get the new ones in, and then figure everything else out. You gotta be careful pulling out these. You can break off this little mount. I'll show you in here. Not that big a deal. They're not super expensive, but it will be a pain in the ass if you don't have one and you gotta order it or something. Both of those gotta pop out. These little tabs right here, one on each side, those gotta pop out as well. Now this thing should be ready to lift off right now and get out of there. Looks like I broke some of the pieces of the foam when I caught my bumper loading on a trailer one time. Looks like I'm gonna have to put a washer behind this to hold this foam up there better. What a mess, what a mess. That's when I did the cutout to get more air in here and to get more room for this thing. And all right, I'm gonna start working on these headlights, get these things off of here. All right, I actually took off 4. I think from what I saw somebody recommend before, and I've done this before, but it's been well over a year, maybe close to a year. Take off 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's a nut right there, so you can actually lift this up. I already got all 3 of the there's 3 studs that come off the bottom of here, 10 mil. Pull those things, and then the headlights are loose. I just got to remember what wiring is connected under here for them. I can't remember, so I guess I'll just have to, it looks like that connection. Oh, that goes over the other side. That's what it is. This runs all the way around here and over. See how filthy that is? All the way over to the other headlight. I think that's how they stay in sync. They each have their own power, but for signal wire, I think that's how it sends the signal over to the other side. So I'm going to work these things out, disconnect them, and then unbox the new ones, which are sitting right over there. Headlights are out. It's not too bad. All you have to do is really just lift up a little bit of this. Get this front one out, the front stud, and then it just comes right out. Like I said, these lights have studs underneath there. So as long as you get that front one out, it comes out pretty easily. But the problem we had with these, with some of the earlier models, is this seal. It's not so bad up top. Down low, it was flapping around. Once you hit up to a certain amount of speed, they would come off. This side as well. It was just all peeling off down here. Some of the earlier lights had this problem. And this one even, if you can see it in the right angle, this one has something going on inside it actually. This is all fog on the inside as well as the whatever fluid that is. So I got a hold of Vet Lights and they said no problem. We'll send us some pictures of what you got going on. And sent them pictures. They sent right back saying, hey, we'll send you a new set, or do you want to do the $1,000 deposit? And then we'll send you a set and you can just swap boxes, or do you want to take yours out, ship them back, and then they'll ship them? And I'm like, the box is already trashed by now from the old one, so I just did a $1,000 deposit, sent me new lights. So, hey, don't mind the mess, we got lots of stuff going on here. Here are our brand new lights. The Muramoto's from, I gotta remember which side this is. Okay, passenger side. These things are sweet. I'll take this out. I don't know how much of the wiring, I already have that still on the other one. That's the jumper from one side to the other. That's that ugly wire that's running right across here, across the front. I don't really have any other place to tuck it. So it's tucked along there. Goes from one side to the other, and I believe the jumper's the signal. Spacers. Some of them needed a spacer in there to have them sit right in here. I forgot all about that. When they sit inside of there, sometimes they don't sit exactly perfect in the right spacing. So I actually loosened up one of the studs, lifted it up, threw the washer in there, and that helped raise it up a little bit to sit in here right. I forgot all about that. There's nothing aftermarket's ever perfect, it doesn't seem like. So I end up having to rig some stuff up to make it sit perfect. So I'm going to get these lights taken out. I'm going to get the other ones packed up nice and neat in there so I can send those things back and get my deposit back. I doubt I'll have this thing all put back together today. It's already like 5:30. It's almost 6. I got to work tomorrow. So I'll probably just unbox these, box the old ones back up, get them ready to ship, and then take care of the rest of the project tomorrow. Well, I'm sorry. Wednesday, hopefully. All right, new C7 lights are back on. I have them running the sequential. You can actually have them just run in a solid instead of having this, but I kind of like that. So that's how I run it. You can do whatever. All it is just a connection. You just you disconnect, tape it up, make sure that it is sealed up from the water, and then you can just run it like this. I have the direct drive set up from A&A. My power steering belt was doing some squeaking. It was pretty wore out, stretched out. And I don't know if you guys know how bad of a pain in the ass it is to get to, but down in there, right there, that belt. That one, you have to pull that pulley off, have to pull the tensioner off down underneath. This is the alternator belt I have right here. I'm actually gonna go a little bit longer one. I have a bigger alternator, and the pulley's a little bit bigger, and this thing's such a nightmare to get on. I'm just gonna go get a belt that's a little bit longer. Tighten that back down and put the bumper back on. Maybe I'll just put the bumper back on right now. So I'm a freaking mess right now. that those getting underneath there and doing all that stuff is not easy to do at all to get to those belts. But I wish I would have done it when the motor was out. I just totally forgot to ask, hey, can we swap out the belts? So in the future, if you guys ever going to get your stuff done, motor, any of that crap, any of the front end coming off, swap all the belts, especially if you have the direct drive set up like I have. By direct drive, I mean, this is a brand new fresh belt on here too. It's not worth losing a race for a $35 part. This is the RPM belt, by the way. The RPM belts, oh great. The RPM belts you can get from Rock Auto for like 35 bucks a piece. And they are made for superchargers, so they're very strong. But this belt goes around the pulley, down there, the balancer, and it just runs the water pump and the supercharger. So then the rest of the belts and all the other stuff are run by, there's actually 3 other belts that are kind of a pain to get to. But it's one of those things that, you know, you learn your lesson, and the next time I'll swap them all out right away. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this back on. I got to figure out how I can get this bad boy mounted up because it actually broke off the foam where it bolts up to the bumper. So we'll figure that out here in a minute. I got to grab a belt from AutoZone, and then I'll throw the bumper back on and button it all up. And I should be about ready to schedule a tune from Bill. Got to make sure this thing's 100%. I don't want to waste his time fixing problems. Good thing he is 25-year ASE mechanic, so he actually put the last engine in for me, so he knows exactly what he's doing. But he likes doing the tuning. He doesn't really want to waste his time doing the mechanical stuff. So that is why I need to make sure this thing's 100% dialed in, and then I will schedule some time with him and get this thing all wrapped up. Get a tune on it, get out there, do some racing. I've got people wanting to race, so we'll go make them happy. Feed them a little bit of the Gap sauce and see how they like it.